I want to get into the general in this segment with you, but then I want to get into the intel you got from what happened last night in El Paso with the Spanish-run, globalist-run media trying to cause a big scene with the police standing down. But before we get to that, Joe, your breakdown on what happened with this major general, two-star general. Am I right in saying, is it accurate this is the highest-ranking general killed since the Revolutionary War? Because I know some died in a helicopter crash in Vietnam, but that wasn't
General Casey. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a big deal.
Yeah, this is huge because this is an actual undercover, combatant who worked his way through the ranks. That's one of the things that you lived in fear of when you were over there.
A sleeper.
Yeah, you didn't know who they were. I mean, you didn't know if your interpreter was on your side or not because you didn't even speak their language. You needed them there to interpret for you what was going on. So you couldn't even tell if they're giving you misinformation half the time. That's something that you have to live with every day, is looking over your back with the people that we're put to work with every day. I mean, it's something that happens. It's dropped. But this is huge. I mean, this is a big blow, a two-star general. And then the German military lost a one-star general as well. Or I don't think he's dead yet, but he's been seriously injured.
Yeah, he's critical.
Yes, so I mean that,
and this was at one of these controlled camps. They call it Green Force, Blue Force.
Yeah, that's where you work side by side, left, right, or left seat, right seat, where you work hand in hand with the other group, and you train them and get them up to speed on your tactics. So
and then they exfiltrate back and train the Akani network how to counter you.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're training these guys, and then they go out and they go back to the Taliban or whoever. And then they use those tactics, and then they use that against us.
Under full spectrum dominance, for you as a soldier, this looks like it's idiocy. For the globalists who want to keep the war going, who want to just have an excuse to put no-bid contracts in and control the opium, this is all planned.
I mean,
I'm not saying they killed the general on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm saying this is part of the chaos theory. Go ahead.
I mean, when people come up to me now and they say, Joe, should I join the military? I tell them, quite frankly, I don't think you should anymore. I've lost so much faith in it. It's such a corrupt place. The people who are running everything, and like you said earlier, the wars have got to end. We're killing too much people. This stuff has got to end.
Remember when the Secretary of Defense, Panetta, wouldn't ever get around troops, even officers who had sidearms?
Oh, yeah.
So they didn't trust our own troops, but I guess they trust the Afghans.
Oh, there's been numerous times high-ranking officials would come to was Balad Air Base in Iraq. And one of their first requests would be, I think it was Donald Rumsfeld. He came out and spoke at Balad Air Base, Camp Anaconda, and said, we want a gathering of soldiers to come over so I can talk, but they can't bring their M4s or anything like that or their sidearms. And we're like, what? I'm not going to go to that. I mean,
meanwhile, Saddam Hussein would stand around with 10,000 people firing AK-47s in the air.
Yeah.
How could he do that, but then our leaders are so scared? I mean, I've never heard of leaders in the West since Hitler that wouldn't get around the soldiers armed.
Because they know that the soldiers are the ones who are most informed. They see what's going on behind the curtain. They see that we're out there having to guard opium fields. It's ridiculous. People are fed up with it. And the ones who get out are the ones who are starting the militias and things like that. They're tired of all this crap going on. The government's not doing their job, so people are starting to stand up.
So you think Rumsfeld and Panetta were smart not to be around the troops?
Well, the thing is, though, is they've pushed the people to such a point that, when I was asked to attend it, I said I had nothing to do with it. I did not want to be there. I said I'd rather go back out on the road and do a convoy. I do not want to be around them. I mean, it's ridiculous. You're going to have me out here in combat and then tell me I can't even have my own weapon in case one of these local nationals, points a gun and starts firing into us? No, it's not going to happen.
Well, now the most high-ranking general, some are saying ever, but there were some high-level generals killed in the Revolutionary War, highest level ever killed, because a war has never been so confused where you've got generals literally right next to the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, that right there, that's crazy because it was at the Marshal Fahim National Defense University in Kabul City. So there's probably a good bit of high commanding people there in that area that work closely with the Afghan army as well and the local national police and things like that. So, I mean, that's just an accident waiting to happen, and it sucks that it did. It's just one of those things that you can't trust them whatsoever. You've got to sleep with one eye open.
celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. And now you can protect yourself from corrupt cops with the InfoWars dash cam. It's your car's black box that records all that the driver sees and hears. And introducing the Block It Pocket. It renders your phone undetectable while protecting your private data and your health. Or take back your privacy and protect your personal information by getting your very own Detractor cell phone pouch. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
Joe's about to run down to San Antonio to meet up with the convoy that started out in California. And this ended up being national news on Univision and the rest of it. When he told me this story, and he's got a press release from him, he's going to do a bigger story tonight for the nightly news or for tomorrow's show. We're not sure yet. This is a false flag, clearly, where in El Paso, a truck then ran the front truck of the convoy off a ramp with Univision waiting and the police coming in saying a gun threat had been called in on the convoy. So all of it coordinated as they came in, I guess trying to get something on video or to get the convoy to react. This is pretty amazing stuff, ladies and gentlemen. This is the stuff that's going on that's only on the Spanish media because American citizens dared try to drive in their cars across the Southwest to point this out. You don't do that. Just like Mexican citizens don't do that or they get killed. We're being taught. Just like Texas newspapers have closed on the border because they've been rocket attacked in the last 5 years. Americans need to learn to sit down and shut up and lay down to third world countries that have failed because that's what America's all about. Joe Biggs, tell us about what's been unfolding.
So the convoy was heading east on I-10, and they said they noticed spotters up on the mountains and the overpasses. Shortly thereafter, a vehicle swerved. I think they said it was like a Tahoe, swerved at their lead vehicle, taking them off of the ramp and down the side road where there was protesters waiting.
See, I'd have just taken it. Boom. Of course, I guess that's, I'm sorry, I'm not kidding. Anyways.
So they get down there and Univision's reporting, and then within seconds they said police started coming in. What happened was the protesters called in, but prior to the convoy even being there, that someone in the convoy had pulled out a gun and pointed at someone. So the police is reacting to what they think is, you know, some kind of...
Yeah, it's all a setup.
Yeah, so they get there and they're like, all right, what's going on? What's going on? And they're like, well, what do you mean? You know, we were driving down the road, a vehicle swerved at us and made us go off the road. It backed up I-10 for up to an hour on in El Paso. You know, Dew and I were just there not too long ago. I've been there a few times the past month. I-10 in El Paso is 5 lanes east to west on both sides.
And it shows how crazy it is. Imagine if we were in Mexico saying, open your borders up, give us everything free. They'd laugh at us. If we just dare want to do anything, we're evil, we're bad, and it's in the news that the pro-immigrant groups were pointing guns at people. I mean, this is going to explode, which is what Obama wants.
Yeah, on their website, borderconvoy.com, they actually have hate mail coming in from people and the locals there. And when they got on the website, they found one of the people who wrote something, and they were taking pictures, you know, live from the overpass in the mountains as the convoy approached, saying it's go time. So to warn everybody to get ready for this. So they lured them into this. It was a huge setup. You know, long story short, police escort them out of there. They're like, all right, you guys got to get out of here. So they end up going to some hotel, I think in Van Horn, stayed over. 4:30 in the morning, they get woken up, not knowing what's going on. Armed militia are banging on the doors, you know, M16s, M4, ski mask on, saying, hey, the cartels are on their way. You need to get the hell out of here as soon as possible.
But see, here's my issue. Take the Alamo or something. I mean, I'm not just saying this, because I've been in a bunch of stuff with standoffs with the, you know, feds and guns and all that stuff many times before on record. I'm sorry, I'm just not leaving. I mean, if people want to say you can't be in a hotel, I'm not saying those militias are PSYOP, but obviously there's going to be infiltration in the convoy, PSYOP manipulation. I'm not saying they're even bad. They can be fed false information. why panic everyone and get up and run from the cartels? I mean, they threatened me. I'm sitting right here. I just don't get it and understand it, Joe.
I don't know, but, you know, you got to think one of these younger ladies, I think some of them are 28, something like that, 26.
No, I know.
You see armed men come up to the hotel, you're like...
No, what I'm saying is, who gave the militia that info?
I don't know.
And who are those militia in those masks? I think it's PSYOP management of people is what's going on here. I mean, clearly... the Mexican media, the Spanish-speaking media, it's all drug cartel owned. It's all running a giant psyop. And I'm saying it's linked up with the CIA, Joe. This is breaking news. Marine Corps Colonel warns of government plan to wage war on the American people. The video is up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And the article is titled, I See Something, Marine Colonel Warns of Takeover. And the name of the video, if you click on the article, deals with the fact that he's warning that the government is preparing for war against the American people. It's titled, Retired Marine Colonel, DHS Preparing for War with Americans. That needs to go viral right now. We're going to air excerpts of the never before heard interview here on the radio that just went live up on Infowars.com coming up. And we're going to retweet it out on Real Alex Jones. Listen, it's easy to sit up here and play Monday morning quarterback. I appreciate the folks convoying across the country. Most of the militia are great people. It's a constitutional movement. I saw the militia out at the Bundy Ranch. Those were legitimate people, the ones I saw on television. But notice there was a crazy in there, the clown guy, who everybody kicked out. All I'm saying is Biggs likes the militia he's been talking to and thinks they're legit. I just know from doing this so long that I could say 6 months before, Atari militia's been infiltrated and taken over by watching their videos. And then it turned out of thousands of militia groups, they were infiltrated. And I tried to get Atari charges dropped. They were. The Fed-run militias, not all of them, but the Fed-run ones, said, Alex, you're a traitor. You scum saying they're Feds. They were good, Atari, wanting to wage war. Well, those were Feds, too, saying that. And, I mean, of course they've got infiltrators. You know how many times I've been at a restaurant or been on vacation or been at a hotel or been anywhere or been at a book signing or video signing, and people come up and say, hey, I got a car full of weapons, let's kill Feds. And I'll say, you're a Fed, and I'll start videotaping them, and they'll run out. I mean, no exaggeration, 30, 40 times. I've had Marine Corps colonels, speak of the devil, in plain clothes come and get on elevators with me in front of my crew and go, Jones, you want to attack the State Department with me? And I'm like, you're a Fed. And then later they walk up to me when I'm walking down the street and go, I'm just waiting for you to make one wrong move, Jones. So that's what I'm saying is I've dealt with this so long is that they'll try to psyop these situations. I had a Fed once jump out when I was covering a military operation, Joe. We'll come back from breaking your take on this. And Mike Hansen was a witness to it and start setting fires. Going, Alex, I'm glad you want to set fires in the woods by this military base. And I'm stomping on it, and the guy keeps setting them. And I literally had to push him down on the ground. I said, you may think you're tough, dude. I'm about to kick your ass really bad if you try to set me up. And then they had dune buggies show up with military laughing at me. So I'm telling you, Joe, this is a whole new war you're in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, I know you guys didn't. You guys dealt with guys you were training that wanted to blow you up in Afghanistan. I'm just saying this is even more sickening. Not as dangerous, but just as sickening.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I see it all the time being here. I mean, it's crazy to see how people try to weasel their way in and then just use everything they can against you to, you know, just take your name and just smash it. Exactly.
They'll just want to meet with you to claim you told them something horrible or to edit what you said to make you sound bad.
Yeah.
And then we track these people back. They're Feds. They're federal informants or they're Feds. Or we deal with CIA, FBI, ATF, just the whole 9 yards, man. Whole 9 yards. And it's just, so I just, you start getting, I guess you call it paranoid. It's just you also learn the signs. Like Hal Turner used to say, I needed to be killed and kill this judge, do this and that. He never got in trouble. I said, that guy's an FBI operative. Came out in federal court. He was FBI national security asset under the White House. And what they do to him when he got busted, they sent him to prison. They burned him. Stay there. I want to get your take on this. You know, when I was about 8, 9 years old and Mexico wasn't 1/10 as violent as it is now, I remember my dad rented a Volkswagen with my mom and I. We flew into Cancun, snorkeled in a few days. They went diving. And then we would drive down into the countryside, into the Yucatan Peninsula deeper, and go visit things on the inland, but also on the coast. I'll never forget how angry I was by a textbook corrupt cop, potbelly, gold teeth, whole 9 yards. Just like you can have the textbook hillbilly cop in East Texas robbing people, you know, that drive through the town. Potbelly, gold teeth, same deal. Pot-bellied, gold teeth, demanding money off my dad or threatening to take us to jail for no reason. And then the last time I was in Mexico 4 years ago, the bus driver, they knew to ask for tips after they'd also given us tours of some pyramids. And then the bus driver's gotten part of those tips, maybe $100 off the big, huge bus full of, you know, however many people. And the Mexican military pulled up with machine guns, stopped him, took him off, took his money. And he'd been doing tours all day. This was at like 5 o'clock. The tours were like 3 hours long. We were probably his third tour. And they took his money, and the guy was crying driving back. So, see, it's not a hatred of Mexicans themselves. It's a hatred of third world countries and the corrupt governments. I hate the Chinese communists. I hate the North Korean criminals. I hate Hitler. I hate Stalin. I hate Mao. I hate oppressors that do this type of thing, and I don't want to be like that. And I get so angry to hear about Mexican cartels shooting at the Border Patrol, and they're told to run now. They can't have bullets. That's in the news. They won't give them bullets. The government's training to take on the American people. And to hear about cartels 50 miles from the border stalking the hotel of the convoy, bringing attention to the border, and then everyone basically fleeing from it, it makes me want to throw up. And I was talking to Joe Biggs here, retired staff sergeant. You know, he's not bragging, but his exploits have been written about in Esquire and other publications. You know, you've taken on a lot of people, including in hand-to-hand, and, you know, successfully. That's why I can't go to these type of things, because I'm not a tough guy, but I am primitive, and I would just flip out. If people are coming at me with guns, I mean, it's not a good deal. And I mean, what would you have done if you were in that hotel and there was Mexican cartel across the street pointing guns at you, and the cops aren't going to help you because American police are trained to do one thing: give old ladies tickets and take kids for CPS so CPS can gang rape them. I mean, basically, that's about what our police do these days. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them in big cities. I mean, what would you have done if you were there last night? Because you were almost part of that convoy.
Get the women out of there as soon as possible, and then go out and set up a recon and check out what's going on to see if someone's out there. But that's just me, you know, from the training I've...
And what would you have done if there were foreign drug cartel people with guns?
Well, I mean, obviously I don't have guns, but I would start trying to, you know, get a hold of police or something like that, send out some reports and give them some kind of intel as amount of people we could see, what they're carrying, so they have an updated intel report on that situation. I mean, that's the only way that you could actually get anything done. I mean, if I don't have a gun, there's nothing I can do with 10, 15 armed men.
Well, if this country keeps groveling to these cartels, we're done. We already bend over to the TSA and every other thug. I'm just sick of all of them. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, they try to bull everybody around. I mean, anybody who's bringing anything to the anti-amnesty side of it, the people, they don't want the illegals coming in illegally, you know, that stops their human smuggling operation. They don't like that. And it's crazy that they're coming into our country and they're pushing people around to do that. And, you know, the Border Patrol's backing down. The police are just kind of like, I don't want anything to do with it.
Oh, I mean, it's like the police won't mess with real motorcycle gangs on record in Texas. And it's the exact same thing. I mean, I don't care if it's a motorcycle gang that struts around in front of your family saying, get out of their way. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a tough guy, but I'm like, listen, you ready to go right now? I'm done. I'm not giving money to Mexican police. I'm not bending over to cartels. I'm not bending over to motorcycle gangs. I'm not bending over to thug cops. I'm not bending over to the TSA. None of them. I'm done with all of them. I mean, can't we find our American spirit again? A nation of people that bend over, folks, get gang raped. Stop acting like cowards.
Exactly.
So I salute the folks in the convoy and the good militia that's involved with them. I'm sure they're good. I'm just saying, from what I've been with, you know, what I've seen, what I've witnessed, and the groups I've been around and been with, I have just seen so much stuff that it's just, look at how Homeland Security said again this week, #1 threats, gun owners, veterans, Tea Party. They don't use HUMET and intelligence officers against the drug cartels in the real stuff. They're messing with us, brother, because they know we want freedom.
Exactly. They know we've had enough of it. We have the training. We're tired of being pushed around.
You have the training, brother.
Yeah.
And I want you to, it's your idea. You want to go to the convoy?
Yeah.
All right. Via con Dios, be safe. Joe Biggs, get down there, get us a report by tonight or tomorrow. Thank you.
Oh.
Thanks a lot. Anything else?
Negative.
All right, great job. And again, folks, I'm not up here trying to be macho and stuff. Everybody knows what I do to the TSA, police, the standoffs I was in years ago, all of it. It's just that I can't be pushed anymore. And I know you can't be pushed anymore, and I personally have had enough. I'll tell you who else can't be pushed anymore. I See Something is the headline, and the subheadline is Marine Colonel Warns of Takeover. He says, go get your horned hat and take back the ship. And that is award-winning, he's one, I guess, Bronze Star or whatever it is, Patriot, Colonel Pete Martino, U.S. Marine Corps Colonel, retired, who last year spoke out about the whole New World Order system and the prepositioning of weapons. We're going to air the entire 45-minute interview in overdrive today in the 4th hour. The full video interview is now up on Infowars.com. We just sent the video out on Twitter at Real Alex Jones again. It's called I See Something, Marine Colonel Warns of Takeover. The video is titled, Retired Marine Colonel, DHS is preparing for war with America. And they're bringing in the foreign groups to destabilize as part of asymmetrical warfare, and you have that from the head of the Border Patrol Union. This is a military attack pointed at anybody that isn't a criminal, and if you don't pay attention to this, you're nuts. Here's part of the report that's coming up.
The reason so many people in the world want to kill us is because we need to pay attention on what's going on in our own house. And when it comes to these Bearcats and this issue, to be honest with you, I really don't have a problem with the police having Bearcats if it's to keep me safe and to keep police officers safe. In fact, I know about a dozen police officers personally in New Hampshire who, if they were the ones holding the key, they could park it in my driveway and I'd sleep better at night. But the reality is, I don't know all the people who have the keys to those Bearcats. And the thing that concerned me in Concord last year was that the chief of police justified on his grant application for that Bearcat as one of the reasons was to deal with the daily challenges of the Free State Project. Now, the Free State Project is just a group of liberty-minded individuals, activists, who are trying to get 20,000 people, activists, to move to New Hampshire because it's a small state and try to restore liberty there and return to constitutional government.
We're building a domestic military because it's unlawful or unconstitutional to use American troops on American soil. So what we're doing is we're building a military. My best friend, who's a SWAT officer in Nashua, who came to Iraq with me to train the Iraqi police, sent me an email with a picture of him in the media on the streets of Watertown, Mass, wearing the exact same combat gear that we had in Iraq, only it was a different color.
I'm shocked that nobody at the IRS has come forward. Somebody sat next to Lois Lerner. Somebody in some of these agencies was in the next cubicle and knew what was going on and still knows what's going on, and yet you don't see people coming forward and talking about it. So when you work for a government agency and people start broad brushing that agency and talking about it, they're talking about you. Same thing with our country. When people say negative things about the United States or they want to kill us or whatever, they're talking about you and me. The United States isn't some piece of dirt. It's not some monument, some building. It's you and me.
It's us.
People. It's we the people.
And that's why I do what I do, is I don't want it in my name.
Exactly. And so where are the people in these agencies? You know, where's the embarrassment? Where's the shame? Where's the sense of conscience to go out there and speak up and say something? And a lot of people are afraid of retaliation or losing their job. Well, go get another job. You know, here we are being told that the NSA needs to turn the whole planet into the Truman Show, and we're all Truman. And yet at the same time, we've got people walking across the border, you know, without any ID, just being shipped all over the country.
Borders wide open, but Homeland Security is for veterans, Tea Party, gun owners, libertarians.
Taking the first letter of each word, integrity, commitment, advocacy, respect, and excellence, creates a powerful acronym, I care. Come on. Why aren't people in prison right now? If anybody gave a damn that we've got over 1,000 veterans died because of being ignored.
Secret death list.
Yeah, and so meanwhile, though, the president seems to know more about the health care of a prisoner of war on the other side of the country, or on the other side of the world, who's been accused of being a deserter, and he couldn't notify Congress and give them the 30-day notice that by law, the law that he signed, he was obligated to do, released 5 known terrorists from Guantanamo Bay, which arguably could be treason because it's aiding and abetting the enemy, to get this one soldier back. And he couldn't tell anybody about it in Congress because his health was in such dire need.
Now he's back on regular duty.
He would probably have better health care while he was a prisoner of war. We need to take a closer look of who's representing you. These are the people who represent us around the world. We had an ambassador to Belgium who was an accused pedophile, and there was an internal memo that was found or became public a while back that said that Howard Gutman would frequently try to ditch his security detail and solicit sex from prostitutes and minor children. And yet the investigation into that was quashed by high-level members in the State Department. Secretary of State Clinton at the time said that the first she heard about it was in the media. Now, my question is, okay, well, once you did finally hear about it, what did you do about it?
What's happening is Homeland Security is pre-staging gear, equipment, consistent. And so what we're doing here, and let's not kid about it, we're building a domestic army and we're shrinking the military because the government is afraid of its own citizens. We're building an army over here, and I can't believe that people aren't seeing it. Is everybody blind?
Hi, I'm Shane Steiner. A lot of you have been following my progress using Super Male Vitality. The last 19 weeks has been an incredible experience. I was feeling a little down and lethargic during the holidays, and none of the supplements that I was taking were doing any good. That's when my longtime friend from high school, Alex Jones, introduced me to Super Male Vitality. I was a little skeptical at first. Not only would I have the energy to work out and go to the gym, but it was actually the changes were happening to my body a lot more rapidly. My whole mood, my libido, everything had completely changed. The concentrated organic herbs, they stimulate your natural systems to produce the natural hormones that you need. I just really wanted to bulk up and hit it hard, and I went in for about the first 5 weeks and was lifting heavy weight and just really hitting it hard, and I gained 20 pounds of muscle immediately. Since that, I've decided I was going to lose some weight and slim down. I just changed up my workout a little bit, and 35 pounds came off. Folks, this is not a joke. This is not a gimmick, it's real. Super Male Vitality, available at InfoWarsLife.com.